This is a typical fence damage after copper theft has occurred. Prior to the site maintainers arriving on site, somebody's found the hole and temporarily wired it shut for the safety of the public and has flagged the hole with the orange caution tape to identify where the fence needs to be repaired. It's funny that sometimes you'll know that it's the same guy that was in a week ago or 2 weeks ago, just in the way that the fence has been cut. The guys that are very good at it can pull the copper out of the fence in 6 or 8 cuts, whereas you'll see some of the rookies, I'll say, they'll have a whole door in there, and actually you'd like to have the experienced guy come back because he doesn't make as much of a mess and it's easier to fix. These break-ins are either found by electrical maintenance on a Monday morning, it seems, after someone's entered the station on a weekend. But the fences are inspected monthly by a grounds and site inspector who's to walk the fence line, and if he notices any damage to the fence, he'll report it on his inspection report, thus creating a DR and dispatch the site maintainers to repair the fence. This is a typical repair after an entry into the station or the removal of the ground grid from the fence. What we will do here is show you how it's replaced so that it appears that it never was damaged. The only way you can identify once the repair has taken place is you'll see shiny ties and possibly shiny weaves in the fence where it hasn't been weathered like the material that's up now. I would say that we're at the stations that have the razor mesh, we're probably down to 10 or 15% only of re-entries to the station. So it has definitely slowed down the criminal. And I'll bet you there's fences out there that are in excess of 50 years old and still standing. In a typical TS-DS setting, that you're working in gravel. As you can see here at this site, there at one time was a 3-foot buffer inside the fence and outside the fence. But through the years and the lack of spraying along the fence lines, the grass has kind of taken over. When they cut the fence here to access the station and remove the ground out of the fence, they've cut what they call the 9-wire or the tension wire on the fence. So our solution to repair this is with what they call a Slater sleeve, and it's just a little copper sleeve. And what we do is we slide the fence together with the 2 sleeves, crimp the crimp, and voila, fixed. And that wire's in place on the fence so that people can't pull on the bottom of the fence. What happens at the end of the repair, that we'll tie the fence back to the tension wire so that kids or people can't access the station by pulling the fence out and burrowing underneath it. The damaged piece that we cut out, we're now going to be in the process of putting in a piece that isn't damaged. And basically what you're doing here is you're just weaving in a new piece to attach the piece that we cut out. The last step of the process here now is to attach the 2 pieces together, the 1 piece we've added, and then to the existing piece. And you never thought a long time ago when your mother taught you how to knit that you might actually use it at Hydro putting fence together, but this is exactly what it's like. So you can see the weaver, and that's what they're called, is just feeding down, tying the 2 pieces together. So that's the fence all tied back in. The last step we'll do is now we'll tie our ground wire back to the fence. We normally put 3 ties on the fence to tie the ground wire back in. I can't say that that's the way it's done everywhere. I mean, it does seem like a lot of work, but in the end, when someone does a fence inspection, you can tell whether somebody's accessed the station. And also it's safe for the general public. You know, we have a lot of stations where people walk their dogs on the outside, and the last thing we'd like to see is a dog or a person end up inside the station and get themselves into trouble.
We take care of all the right-of-ways that run through the GTA, tower lines, and station sites. We maintain, try and keep them clean for the grass contractors, so we pick up garbage, refuse that accumulates on our site. We could find large couches, tree down where we have to use chainsaws, and we also have to interface with the public if the homeowner comes out and talks to us about the situation. This site that we're on today has been, it's a very high traffic area. There's a lot of people, a high density area here also. As a section of Toronto that has a bit of a shaded past, and 10 years ago we used to have problems behind me here along the post and cable fence. People sitting out there accosting the people when they came on site, and the area now is getting cleaned up. It's a lot better. We also had an electric gate installed at the TS adjacent to the right-of-way because people would not go in there after hours just because of the personnel that was around the station. We have come across needles in the past. We do carry Sharps containers with us, so if we find them we will put them in. And we've also have a leaf sucker that we use now to pick up large piles of leaves where we don't know what's actually in there or anything sharp, including the needles.
Well, here we're during the T7, T8 fire, the overwhelming heat from the transformer melted out the window on the compressor building. So we just set up some scaffold here, pull off the plywood for a temporary fix, and we're going to replace it with Georgian wire glass. We do everything from taps, toilets, scaffold, replace windows, replace doors, you name it, we do it. Again, after the T7, T8 fire, the compressor building here took a major blow. It was, you can see on the lights there, it was heat scorched, but the building itself was just covered in smoke inside, melted out the window. The tanks were just covered in smoke. They needed to be cleaned and repainted. We built all the scaffold around all the compressor tanks for CMS to be able to come in and repaint the tanks.
I'm about to conduct a breaker blowdown on site at the Pickering B site here. I just get the OK from OGCC, and this is why we do the breaker blowdown. Water built up in the capacity of the air breaker that can cause rust. It can also cause freezing in the winter time. So we normally do it once every month.
The roof inspections are done annually. We do a roof inspection, make sure the drains are cleared and the roof is in good condition. Look for any signs of leakage, make sure the flashing around the roofs are in place. We're in the relay room right now where we've had a roof leak. If we had damage done to the relays in the relay room here by water leakage, we could possibly shut down Pickering generating station. Yeah, the buildings are in pretty good shape. They are really. They're getting old. The ventilation systems and the HVAC systems in them are becoming old and worn out. They always need to be updated with gaskets and caulking to make sure everything's sealed up on them. And the filters changed every 3 months. Make sure the air quality is good. The air conditioning in the summertime is very important in relay rooms because of the heat of the relays that is put off in the relay rooms. The air conditioning keeps them nice and cool, that they function properly. They're not allowed to be overheated or they'll shut down.
Here is a very major component to any roof structure. In the event that this plugs, this whole roof becomes inundated with water, and of course compromises the whole roof structure as well as the building inside. And we've had these issues in the past, and so on a roof inspection it's very critical that we make sure that these drains are maintained so that we can get a flow of water off the structure itself. We did have an incident around December, and what had happened, this roof drain was compromised, and when I got the call and I came up here, we had a virtual pool on this roof, and consequently we had to open up this drain and drain off this water. But that's the kind of problems that you can encounter if you don't stay on top of these roof inspections.
As a civil maintainer groups, we usually end up getting all the work that where they don't know who to give it to, and they'll give it to civil, and civil will take care of it. Where it doesn't fit into a certain department, electrical or mechanical or whatever, they'll give it to civil to solve the problem. Well, if you look at the diversity of the types of jobs we do, it's really, civil maintenance is really a jack of all trades. Yeah, sometimes we do feel like we're at the bottom of the food chain when we're getting all these jobs to be done.
And we do look after everything from roofing right down to the toilets and the plumbing and the flooring and all your entrances, your fencing, and so you get a general knowledge of all of these different trades. But it wouldn't be uncommon for the foreman to ask you to remove a rogue raccoon from one of the relay buildings, and so we would often have a bet going on that we could get both of them out of there in one trip, and you get a free coffee out of it.
Just to wrap everything up, I'd say that civil maintenance and the site maintenance people help to keep the lights on with the electricians and the linemen and the forestry and everything else, everybody else that works for Hydro One.